Today, of course, is a Thursday for everyone, but it's a big day here in the radio station because we have 3 out of the 4 sitting commissioners all joining us on the show today. At 3 o'clock, Rob Manfred stops by. At 4 o'clock, Gary Bettman. And at 5 o'clock in studio, Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, will join us as well. So, for those of you that have questions and want to get in, feel free. You can start calling in now. We'll take your calls. We'll jot down a couple notes, perhaps, if you want your question. I can't promise calls during those particular hours, but if you have about an hour now until it all starts. So the stuff that's on your mind that you're dying to say, dying to ask the commissioners about, you can call in now and I'll talk to you now. And there's a very good chance I will get to it. Now, the big stuff is, I know all the big stuff we want to talk about, whether it's the DH rule or the 7-inning doubleheaders, or, is there going to be a midseason tournament in the NBA? The NHL announced they're putting advertisements on jerseys yesterday. I got it. But if there's something beyond the scope of the big stuff, the obvious stuff, that's just been like a thorn in your side that you always wanted the opportunity to find out about, you call right now and let me know. And I'll jot it down and I'll do my best to try to get those questions asked. You know the numbers. It's 877-337-6666. A couple quickies out of the gate. Number one, you may have heard the news. If not, the New York Jets are the New York Jets. And by that, I mean 4 guys got hurt today already in practice. The biggest one, of course, is Carl Lawson, who's arguably their biggest offseason acquisition. And he said to the trainers he thought he heard something pop. It's in his Achilles. They are already taking him for an MRI. And I don't want to be a doomsdayer, but I'm a Jet fan. Much like you Met fans. The Mets won last night. Oh, we're back. We answered the Steve Cohen tweet. And the Mets got lucky last night. Now, they get the W. It's a W. But for 8+ innings, you had 0 runs and 3 total hits. So the fact that they have a great, not a good, a great come-from-behind victory, and they get the big home run in the 12th and stop the losing streak at 5, and remain 4.5 games out of first place, the New York Mets didn't answer the bell yesterday. The New York Mets didn't respond to the Steve Cohen tweet about how unbelievably pathetic they are offensively. The New York Mets won a game yesterday, and it's a huge win. But they didn't get any better offensively yesterday. So much like Carl Lawson carted off the field today after signing a 3-year, $45 million deal to help out the New York Jet defense and their pass rush, obviously. It made me feel the way I used to feel when I rooted for the Mets. Like, this crap is going to happen. Why is it going to happen? Because it's the Jets. Why is it going to happen? Because it's the Mets. And there are franchises, unfortunately, I root for one of them, the New York Jets, that it always feels like there's something going to happen. Like, we can't enjoy prosperity. We can't have the good things in life. Because every time we feel like we got something good, something inevitably goes wrong. Something inevitably goes south. And it's just, when I heard the news about Carl Lawson today, and then just following stuff online about 3 other guys. Denzel Mims walks off the field today. He was not carted off, but he's got an injury. 2 other guys, one carted off, one not, injured today in practice. And it makes you say to yourself, like, why me? Why me? Why the Jets? Like, I'm feeling good about the Jets. Of course, 3 weeks ago, if you were a New York Met fan, you were feeling good about the Mets. And now you're in 3rd place. And now there's a sensitivity level because the owner decided not to coddle you anymore and be cute on Twitter and to come right out and say what every fan's saying, and that is, you suck. And the Mets did admit after the game yesterday that the Steve Cohen tweets were a topic of conversation. How do you think that conversation went, by the way? Like, if the New York Mets, as most athletes say, are very sensitive to any kind of criticism at all, how do you think the conversation went in the Met clubhouse yesterday when one of the guys said, hey, look what the owner said about us? Because none of the players acknowledged that. until after yesterday's game because they played, the 4 o'clock game, East Coast, whatever, against the Giants. So we didn't know if the players, we assumed they were aware of it. We didn't know for a fact that A, they were aware of it, and B, they discussed it. And as they're discussing it, what would have been really interesting is something that Kevin Connolly said yesterday. There was probably a player or two, and two guys come immediately to mind. It's Marcus Stroman and Pete Alonso, who have relationships with the owner, maybe beyond what other players might have. It would have been very interesting if Steve Cohen did reach out to those guys on the side and said, hey, that tweet wasn't meant for you. You keep doing you. I love what you're doing. That if the players are not collectively bitching and moaning and talking about the Steve Cohen tweet, I wonder if those guys participated in that conversation or somehow excused themselves from reacting to the obvious criticism. Now, look, they won the game. They got to win another game and another game and another game. And, we all knew this 13-game West Coast trip was going to be potentially going to be their Waterloo. And thus far it has been. Last night's victory aside, it's great they won the game. But there were so many problems with that game. No offense at all, questionable managerial decisions, and yet they did find a way to win, which is great. But I don't think there's a single Met fan out there. If there is, I haven't met you yet, who, because they won last night's game and get the 3-run bomb in the 12th, went to bed last night saying, all right, we're good. All right, we figured it out. I just don't think that animal exists. So if you're a diehard Met fan, certainly get your take on all that. Meanwhile, the New York Yankees just, let's be honest, do what the New York Yankees do. It's what we've come to count on them to do. For the last 25 years, the one team you can count on year in and year out is the Yankees, are the Yankees. It's plural, so I'm going to go are. But it could be is. The one team you can count on is. I'm going is. I think it's, although Yankees, I think it's is, not are. I don't know if you guys want to help out on that. But
I like is.
You want to go is on that?
I'm going to go is.
You, Brian, you going is on that as well?
I'm going R.
You going R?
Yeah.
The one team you can count on is the New York Yankees because the one team it's singular.
Oh, I don't
One
like.
team you could count on are the
Yeah, that doesn't right.
It is. Yep, you're
It
right.
is wins.
Is wins.
All right, so you guys have to give me a soda, I guess. Anyway, so the one team you can, that's like no matter what you do, almost like Groundhog's Day. The Jets something wrong's gonna go on. Happened today with Carl Lawson. You're a Met fan. Something bad's gonna happen. Some losing streak's gonna happen. There's gonna be some crap, whatever it is. Bang, it happens. But when it comes to the New York Yankees, even through all the crap, all the yelling and screaming about let's fire Brian Cashman, let's get rid of Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone's not the right guy. We need to bring in an older manager, a tough guy, a guy that yells at players. And then all of a sudden you wake up and they're the best team in baseball. They're the hottest team in baseball. They've won 8 consecutive series. They've won, I think it's 12 out of the last 13 series. They have the best record since July 6th in the entire league, National League included in that. They're the best team right now. They're the team you don't want to play right now. Now, their bullpen sucks in the 8th and 9th innings. Chapman first came back from, being on the IL, couldn't get the job done, couldn't close out, a multiple run lead. That's a problem. That's a question mark. But right now, this Yankee team right now, unlike this Yankee team from a month ago, this Yankee team is finding ways to win. Getting the clutch hit, getting the big strikeout, getting the big play. A month ago, they weren't getting it. And here we are on the second half of August, a month and a half to go, 40-plus games to go. And is there a team out there you'd want to be other than the Yankees? Yeah, sure, say Tampa, because Tampa's in front of them right now. And Tampa's playing great baseball. But the Yankees have now gone from 4th place out of the wild card to they own the wild card. Now, I'm not saying they're going to make up the 5 games for Tampa because Tampa is playing great ball. The Red Sox were playing like crap. So the Yankees got hot. When the Red Sox got cold, bang, that's a 10-game makeup quick. Tampa is showing no signs of playing lousy baseball like the Red Sox did. But the Yankees now own the wild card. And in Major League Baseball today, that's all you need. You ain't got to win the division to win a World Series. And it just reminds you again and again and again that for all the complaining and moaning, there is one team right now And there's only one. You can't count on the New York Giants. They've lost more games than they've won over the last decade. Can't forget about hockey right now. We'll talk to Gary Bettman about hockey at 4 o'clock, right? But the one franchise, again, that we can count on are the New York Yankees. And the more things change, the more things stay the same. So we'll get into all that with you from last night, 877-337-6666. If you have a question for the commissioners, please don't call and say, yo, Craig, ask him about the universal DH. I got that. I got it. I promise you I got that. Don't call in and say, yo, Craig, are you going to get rid of the play-in game in the NBA? I got that. Yo, Craig, ask Manfred, why does he hate baseball? Not asking that. Okay? Yo, Craig, what's up with 7 inning? I got you. I want something that maybe I haven't thought of, something that is somewhat unique, something that is not the obvious mainstream stuff, which I'm going to ask. I want to get them all on the record about all their things. NHL, are we sending guys to Beijing in the Olympics? If we don't, are you still taking a 3-week break? What's going to happen with the schedule there? That's a legit question. Putting advertising on the front of jerseys now, which they just announced to try to make up, the fiscal mess that COVID has been. I got all that. I promise you, I actually wrote down notes. I'm not even a note taker, and I got down notes. I will ask about gambling, 100% of all 3 gentlemen as they come in today. But I want something that's important to you, something that you as a fan have always said to your buddies at the sports bar. Man, if I ever had a chance to sit down one-on-one with Adam Silver, with Rob Manfred, and or Gary Bettman, I would ask him this, and I would want to grill him about it. Well, what is that this to you? What's that thing that means something to you? Is it blackouts on the MLB app? Big deal to a lot of people, right? We'll get it. We got you, baby. We got you covered. And that all starts at 3 o'clock, okay? First, though, Joe's in Byram on the Fan. Joe, good afternoon. How are you?
What's up, Craig?
What's up, kid?
I got 2 things. First, I would like you to ask the baseball commissioner, Manfred, if it is true that they determined the only way Cohen was allowed to buy the Mets is if he did not go absolutely insane and spend millions of dollars.
No, but I can tell you. I mean, it's not an unfair question, but I can tell you. I can tell you the other side of that. I can tell you that Steve Cohen and the guys that he's closest to did make a conscious decision not to be that guy. That it's a small fraternity, a small club of owners. That he didn't want to come in and year one go out there and spend $500 million on a roster and become this, kind of independent outlier amongst the owners. Now, you could also make the argument. I'm not going to hang up on you. Hang on. Okay. You could also make the argument that they went after a lot of guys. They made offers to guys and just didn't get them. But I hear your question. It's a fair one. We'll see. We'll get to it.
Okay, and then I just wanted to say, diehard Mets fan, put the nail in the coffin. It's a wrap.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a wrap also. Good. I'm with you on that. And the West Coast trip historically came right after the All-Star break, and that's usually when an upstart young Met team, kind of fell apart. This one just took a little bit longer. But I can tell you this: in my lifetime, as far as I can remember, at least, I don't remember, and there's only been, 3 Met owners in my lifetime now with Steve Cohen. I don't remember a Met owner ever publicly saying anything along the lines of what Steve Cohen tweeted. I guess he didn't say it, but he tweeted it. I don't remember that ever happening. I know owners have maybe, been critical of certain players, certainly of managers, but I don't remember if the Wilpons or Doubleday at any point came out and said, these guys suck, which is essentially what Steve Cohen said. I don't understand how professionals can be this bad, a.k.a. for me and you, these guys suck. I don't remember a Met owner ever doing that. Steinbrenner, of course, was king of it. I don't know if Dolan ever did it. He's been critical in the past of certain, teams that he owned. I don't think he ever did it. He would just fire guys, as he did with the Rangers, this particular offseason. But I don't remember a Met owner ever doing it. And I think it's a healthy thing. Ultimately, I think, a lot of guys are coddled far too much, at least for my liking. So it's one thing if Evan and I say it. It's one thing if the SNY guys say it. It's one thing if you as fans, on chat rooms and online say it. Who cares, right? At the end of the day, they weed out all that noise. It's just a loudmouth on the radio saying something. Oh, it's just a drunk fan saying something. He'll pay for a ticket tomorrow, no worries. When it's the guy writing your check saying it, it's a whole different ballgame. So I think what Steve Cohen did was good. And I think it ingratiated him to the fan base.